The price and transformative power of technology in education. Steve Ballmer said, "The number one benefit of information technology is that it empowers people to do what they want to do. It lets people be creative. It lets people be productive. It lets people learn things they didn't think they could learn before. And so, in a sense, it is all about potential." An average library today has a mix of hardcover, softcover, and digital books. Many more textbooks are moving towards digital. The publishers are promoting this by including additional features, such as study aids, within the digital copies. Note that the average price is 5 times more for the old-fashioned hardcover. Magazine subscriptions are also more widely available in digital formats and less costly to come by. If you wish to access the abundance of digital information, you need high-speed internet and some digital device, preferably a computer. While the price of a computer can vary widely, a run-of-the-mill desktop with the most commonly used features runs an average of $500. Then you would need to shop for an ISP or internet service provider and decipher the cost of broadband for your home. This is a graphic from Time Warner Cable, in my area, which includes promotional rates for new subscribers. Note that you would need to add the cost of equipment, plus taxes, fees, and other charges in your monthly budget. You might need to pay for installation as well if you're unable to do this yourself. The average student does not have access to school computers outside of regular school hours. Some can go to the library or a computer lab before school hours, typically for half an hour, and then they may miss breakfast at school. Some can stay after, but usually only if they are in a tutorial program. The United States Department of Commerce commissioned the Economics and Statistics Administration and National Telecommunications and Information Administration to filter through census data and determine the number of households that had access to a computer at home, as well as how many households had computers along with internet access. They graphed this data by household income. It was discovered that 23% of households in the United States did not have a computer at home. About 46% of low-income households did not have access to high-speed internet service or broadband. This graph represents the household demographics of computer use and broadband adoption based on race, ethnicity, household income, and education. Correlations seem to be blatantly obvious. Many educational researchers refer to this discrepancy as the digital divide, whereas those in education fear that this lack of educational resources will cause an ever-widening learning gap between those with means and those living in poverty. It is considered a lack of equity. Those that hope to bridge and close the digital divide within education cite the fact that many resources created and used today require students to have access to technology, computers, and the internet. Students also need to learn how to operate this equipment for their own future education and eventual professions. Within the Teachers College at Columbia and at the Campaign for Educational Equality, educators compiled a list of basic requirements for the welfare of students. Within this is a section that lists the instruments for learning. This includes a sufficient and up-to-date library media center, providing a sufficient number of books and up-to-date instructional technology and software, sufficient and up-to-date instructional technology including computers, related hardware such as printers and appropriate software, and supplies. The incidentals may make life easier, but add to personal costs. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development just put out a report documenting the results of the Survey of Adult Skills, which collated data on adults' proficiency in literacy, numeracy, and technology-driven problem-solving around the globe. Governments hope to promote their labor markets and show how they are invested in the skills, lives, and education of their citizens. While the fact that Americans rank well below the worldwide average in just about every measure of skill, in math, reading, and technology-driven problem-solving, the United States performed worse than nearly every other country in the group of developed nations. It was surprising to learn that an apparent deficiency was not the lack of computer literacy per se, but an apparent deficiency in Americans' ability to understand, evaluate, use, and engage with written text to participate in society, to achieve one's goals, and to develop one's knowledge and potential. The U.S. Department of Commerce asked the households that did not have computers at home and/or internet access why they did not. The vast majority cited cost as the factor in their decision not to have these vital tools. If you examine the living wage calculation for Texas and compare this to poverty and minimum wages, the premise is quite understandable. The fact that the areas I looked at have the highest concentration of child poverty, as well as the highest illiteracy levels, may be evidence of the insidious nature and a cycle of inequities within the public education system. Two educators wrote on a blog about fighting illiteracy and poverty in the Rio Grande Valley and stated in their research and experience, the less fortunate children are found living in colonias along the Rio Grande River. Their socioeconomic status make life difficult for them. Other more fortunate children enjoy the luxury of having books, iPads, and every other educational gadget available to them. They also have educated parents that encourage them to read, write, and study at home, and this helps tremendously when you get to school. For metropolitan areas with populations around 500,000, the McAllen-Edinburgh Mission, Texas area ranks number 1 in the percentage of households living in poverty. For the metropolitan area of Brownsville and Harlingen, with a combined estimated population of around 400,000, the U.S. News and World Report found an estimated 145,961 living below the poverty line, culminating in a poverty rate of 36.3%. This very same area in the Rio Grande Valley at the bottom of the Texas map reveals a 40 to 100% illiteracy level. Cameron County had a 43% illiteracy rate, while Hidalgo County had a staggering 50% illiteracy level. This was measured by the National Center for Education Statistics within the U.S. Department of Education, the Institute of Education Sciences, on January 2009, which tested basic prose literacy skills, or BPLS. Prose literacy is defined by reading materials arranged in sentences and paragraphs. Examples of prose literacy include newspaper articles, editorials, and brochures. Adults who lack BPLS have skills that range from being unable to read and understand any written information to being able to only locate easily identifiable information. In short, commonplace prose text in English, but nothing more advanced. The percentage of those who lack BPLS reflects the magnitude of the adult household population at the lowest level of English literacy. So it was not surprising when this year Forbes declared Brownsville, Texas, number 4 in the least educated states in America, and McAllen, Texas, number 9. The fight for equity and educational resources to close the digital learning gap needs to begin. Only when you educate your children can you expect the community to climb out of poverty. As Bill Clinton stated, it turns out that advancing equal opportunity and economic empowerment is both morally right and good economics, because discrimination, poverty, and ignorance restrict growth, while investments in education, infrastructure, and scientific and technological research increase it, creating more good jobs and new wealth for all of us.